What's going on, guys? It's Radar here. In this video we're going to go through the new build, Season 3 2015 build, just generally my impressions and some of the cool new stuff they've added. This by far is probably the best build since Bathurst, at least for me, which is about 2 years ago now. It's definitely, it's not just because the content's great, it's because what they've changed under the car is pretty good as well. So we'll run through that just really quickly while we're watching this Corvette drive around in the GT1 Challenge week 13 series that they've got going with the Corvette and the Aston. So there's a lot of things they've changed under the hood within the sim. The big noticeable one graphic wise will be they've got new shaders on them, so it makes the materials look more realistic, so metal shines like metal, doesn't look like plastic anymore. And one thing I've noticed too is it's got rid of that really annoying sunspot that you'd find sometimes with your reflections. There'd be a massive kind of whited out patch on the bottom of the car as if it was a sunspot, so I'm glad that's gone. I was just driving in the HPD earlier just to get some sounds for it, and it just looks better from the cockpit. The clip actually reflects normally, it's not just this thing that shines light in your eye. What you're driving past is reflected off it very nicely, and I can imagine the screenshot quality now, it's coming absolutely through the roof, so it's going to be some great looking pictures because we've got some much better looking cars. And on top of the new shaders, that also, in an aid to help with frame rates, they've introduced a dynamic way of downscaling the quality of cars depending on where they are relative to. So a car on the opposite end of the circuit, that you can't see, they'll just basically take that off. So the cars near you can have increased quality, which is just going to help with the frames in general. Now, big changes that physics-wise, are in the sim. There's a new tire model again. New tire model version 6. This has just been put on mostly road cars and mainly your GT3s, your GT1 cars of course because they're new, except for the Corvette, and also the HPD and the Ford GT, not the GT3 version, and the Mustang. They're the ones I can remember off the top of my head. And also the Ford, the Legend. They put on the Legend car because the Legend gets everything, because it's kind of like their test car to a degree. So that's actually a pretty good time. I'll go through that later on in the video in depth because just compare it between driving an older GT3 car and the new model with the tyre model on it. Another thing too, they've introduced some chassis torsion, which is, I don't know, I haven't really noticed it. It's not super noticeable that it's there. However, it does feel nice. Like, you know, I drove the V8 last night just to see how it felt with that car, because that's what I'm most familiar with, and it just felt more stable. It didn't feel like the car was doing weird things because the chassis wasn't acting naturally, but because it can kind of twist, it's not modelled visually, it's just physically. Definitely the car feels a lot stable. The downhill section in Donington, you're not sliding all the time. I had just chucked an old setup on it that was basically like an ice rink down that downhill section. It was glued, just mainly because of that chassis torsion change, so that's pretty good. I like that. A few other changes they've made is they've included, what was it again? It was the slowdowns. They've not made them less annoying. They've just made them better to a degree. They've now got how much you've got to give back next to the slowdown. So rather than just flashing a big flag and a slowdown in your face and you get pissed off and you stop on track and wait for it to clear, it now tells you how much you've got to yield. It's still a ridiculous amount of time. Like, you dip a wheel in the dirt and give you a slowdown. Yield 1.2 seconds. Yeah. That's right, logic, well done. At least it's there now, so I know how much I've got to lift off, and the minute it hits 0, you can just gun it. It'll still flash for a bit, but it's just iRacing, like, wait, it's cleared, yep, cool. So that's a nice, neat little feature that will help me a little bit, because I seem to find the slowdowns pretty often. So now we'll go ahead and we'll roll on into the GT3, just to see how that feels now with the new tyre model. Just rough on the tyre model, it just increases the stiffness overall of the carcass of the tyre. It responds better to pressure changes, so it's a more realistic model of how the tyre reacts to pressure change and side movement. But anyway, we'll go on into that GT3. So here we are, just doing some laps of the BMW at Zandvoort, because I'm going to be racing here next weekend in the SEK series, which is an Australian GT3 series. But anyway, the tyre feels, it's not a massive difference really. It's nothing major that is going to break the car. It's just, I can't put my finger on what's different about it. I mean, you can read the notes and it'll tell you what's different about it. But I'm not feeling it, to be quite honest. I've heard other people say, yeah, it's a good change, and some have said it's a bit meh. But for me, it's just it's the first version of V6. No doubt there'll be version 6.100 million in the next build because they'll change it again. But anyway, so just reading off the dev notes. So the new tyre model has a new model of the tyre carcass that does a much more accurate computation of the tyre's stiffnesses. Amongst other things, tyres now respond much more correctly to tyre pressure changes. And most of the road course cars will be updated with this. That's just straight from the release notes. You definitely feel that stiffness a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. It's a very minute change. There's nothing superb about it. I mean, the only thing that I like is the fact that when you slide, you can actually catch it now. The HPD, that was an uncatchable car basically. You got sideways, you might as well just let go of the wheel and just be a passenger. But now you can actually catch it, and when you catch a car, it's not going to lose all grip for the next 6 laps. You're able to, once it's straight, get back in it. And that's what I like, because it's what really, I thought it was just a V8 thing, but I figured it out in other cars as well. But it really pissed me off that you'd have this mad tag slapper, you'd catch it, you feel great, and you want to drive away, and then it just loop. It's like, well, yeah, thanks for that. Thanks iRacing for slapping me in the face. I mean, the stiffness, the tyre pressure changes, yes, you do feel it now a lot more. You did notice before it was more just a tyre heat up thing for me personally, but you definitely feel the difference from a starting pressure to a race pressure. Starting pressure tyre feels a bit sluggish, but then when at that race pressure, it feels good. The tyre responds, it's a bit stiffer. It just acts the way you want it to act, and that's what you want. But overall, it probably will get improved for the next build. And I'll probably find out more things about it as I drive it a bit more. But all in all, I like the direction they're going with this is good. V5 I had no issues with. I actually kind of figured it out pretty good, but V6, I've got nothing against it. It's just kind of got me on the fence about it. It's not as bad as that Ford FG time model they put out, where it was a soft tyre glitch. But it's not the best they put out. But yeah, still, it's a better representation of what a real tyre feels like. Which is it's a good thing, really. So we'll go ahead and we'll roll on into the new content, the best part of this build, which is the Aston Martin DBR9. The Aston Martin DBR9 is a British-built V12 powered GT1 car. GT1 is a dead series, however, it's still great to have these cars around. It's got a 6-speed sequential gearbox with an auto cut, but you must flip on the downshifts. Produces 600 brake horsepower at 6,500 RPM. 650 newton meters of torque. Uses Brembo carbon discs with 6-piston Brembo calipers. It's got a max speed of 194 kilometers an hour. And this car is an absolute beast to drive. It's so much fun. GT1 cars, I wish they still existed. However, everyone went for GT3 because it was cheaper and easier. It's also a carbon fiber body over a bonded aluminium chassis. But it looks great. All Aston Martin's doing, I can't wait for them to bring out the Vantage. But overall, it's actually a very nice car to drive. Despite it being GT1, they're a bit of a handful sometimes. On a V8 to skip barber level of handful, it's probably in the middle somewhere. They've got a mad amount of power on board, and they deliver it very well. However, I can't really put my finger on what's different, why they're so different. It's probably just the power thing. You hear GT, you think, oh cool, easy as, plenty of assists. The only assists on board these cars is traction control. It's not GT3, it's not autopilot. Then you've got ABS, all sorts of stuff going on a GT3 car. Pretty sleek interior, very bare bones. You've just got the button box off to the right hand side. You probably can't see it, all of it in the video, and then you've just got your pretty simple digital display, which is what I like. I don't like it when, like the Corvette's dash, that is just a mess. There's so many numbers there, you don't know which one to look at. Here, I can tell what gear I'm in, I can tell how fast they're going, and the shift lights make sense. It's great. This does max out at about 7,500 RPM, but it produces max power at 6,000, so go figure. It's between the Corvette and the Aston Martin, they're very well matched. The Aston gets into the corner better. That's about it. That's about all it's good at least on the baseline setup. I haven't gone into tweaking these cars yet because I just couldn't be bothered really. I just wanted to drive it, see what it felt like, and try and get this video out as soon as possible for me really, because I've got a pretty hectic schedule going on right now. But anyway, this car gets into the corner great. It stops good. It turns initially very good. But, oh my god, once you get into the corner, it's understeer city. And I actually watched the replay back, and that's because of this old chassis torsion stuff now. The inside of the car on the front end is actually lifting off the deck. So, that's just, it's too soft in the front end. So you can stiffen that up and it'd be happy days. But that's the thing that annoys. iRacing give you pretty dodgy baselines, but you gotta deal with it sometimes. But all in all, it's a pretty nice car to drive. It gets into the corner, but mid-corner it's pretty bare. And on exit, it's pretty good too. It's alright, it's not as great as the Corvette. The Corvette just shoots off that corner massively, but it brakes terribly. I don't know, it's not a sort of car I'd recommend to a guy who hasn't driven iRacing a lot, mainly because it's a bit of a handful, but you got to take the good with the bad, and no doubt this is probably, I used to say the McLaren was probably the best car they released a while back, and when they put the new steering model in. And now this car is probably the best one they put out again since, as we get a little touch from Bozo there. It's great, it works well, it feels amazing. The force feedback, there's not a lot going on there because it's just so smooth. It's not going to rip the wheel out of your hands. It's not a Star Mazda where you just like holding a white knuckle because it wants to bounce out of your hands. A good comparison would be the HPD. The HPD, it just feels kind of lazy in your hands. You know, the wheel doesn't have too much weight behind it. It's not too much going on force feedback wise. It's the same with the Aston. It feels good in your hands. Off-track excursion there, that's always what you want. It feels great in your hands. You can feel the bumps when you need to feel the bumps. You can feel the curves when you hit them, but it's not going to rip itself out of your hand, which is good. I mean, I like it that way. I don't like it when the wheel's trying to destroy my wrists and everything. So a little Aston Martin, definitely a car worth buying. I just hope there's some Aussie splits, or that there's a lot of participation that it turns into a GT3 challenge, because that's what I want. I want to drive this car all day. I'd happily drive it, because it sounds absolutely amazing. Which we're going to do. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to shut up, and we're just going to roll on into some sound stuff. So, as I mentioned earlier, there's a bit of a sounds update to a couple other cars, mainly the Star Mazda and the HPD. So from here, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm going to shut up now and just let you go for a hot lap on board the Aston Martin, and then we'll just give you some sounds of the Star Mazda and the HPD. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you all enjoyed it, and we'll catch you in another episode.